Did you know that the foods you eat every day could be silently destroying your joints and triggering crippling inflammation that leaves you in constant pain? It's a hidden danger most seniors never see coming. What you're about to learn in the next few minutes could free you from years of unnecessary suffering and restore the mobility you thought was gone forever. I'm going to reveal the 7 inflammatory foods that are poisoning your joints right now, and the simple dietary changes that could dramatically reduce your pain in as little as 14 days. Last month, Margaret Wilson was a 73-year-old grandmother who could barely walk to her mailbox. Her knees throbbed constantly, her fingers were too stiff to knit, the hobby she once loved, and morning stiffness kept her in bed until nearly 10 a.m. every day. Despite trying multiple supplements, pain medications, and even considering surgery, nothing seemed to help. But today, Margaret moves with ease, enjoys playing with her grandchildren again, and wakes up ready to start her day. The difference? She eliminated 7 specific foods from her diet, foods that doctors rarely mention, but that research shows are directly linked to joint inflammation and pain in seniors. What happened to Margaret could happen to anyone over 60 who doesn't know the critical information I'm about to share with you. Food No. 1. Refined sugar, the joint destroyer hidden in plain sight. Did you know that the sweet treats you enjoy could be the main reason your joints are failing you? Sugar isn't just bad for your waistline, it's possibly the most destructive force against your joints after age 60. Research from the Journal of Rheumatology reveals that refined sugar triggers a cascade of inflammatory cytokines that specifically target joint tissue, causing up to 40% more pain and stiffness within hours of consumption. This sugar-induced inflammation is particularly damaging to seniors whose bodies already have diminished ability to counteract inflammatory responses. Dr. Michael Roberts, a leading rheumatologist at Northwestern University, explains, when seniors consume refined sugar, it creates something we call an inflammatory cascade in the body. Blood markers of inflammation can spike within 30 minutes, and these inflammatory compounds travel directly to already vulnerable joints. For someone over 65, even a small cookie can trigger hours of increased joint pain that they might not connect to what they ate. Take the case of Robert Jenkins, a 68-year-old retired teacher from Colorado. Robert suffered from debilitating knee pain for years, trying everything from prescription medications to physical therapy with minimal relief. I was at the point where my doctor was suggesting knee replacement surgery, Robert shared. Then my daughter suggested I try eliminating sugar for just 2 weeks. The results shocked both Robert and his doctor. Within 10 days, the constant ache had diminished by at least half. After a month, I could walk upstairs normally again. I never dreamed something as simple as cutting out sugar could make such a dramatic difference. Here's what you need to do immediately: eliminate all refined sugar, including obvious sources like cookies, candy, and soda, but also watch for hidden sugars in foods marketed as healthy like flavored yogurt, granola bars, and even many whole grain breakfast cereals. Check labels for ingredients ending in "ose," like fructose, glucose, dextrose, as well as cane juice, syrup, concentrate, and honey. Replace these inflammatory triggers with fresh berries, apples, or a small piece of dark chocolate, 70% cacao or higher, when you need something sweet. Your joints will thank you with less pain and more mobility. Could making this one change be the first step toward freedom from joint pain that's been limiting your life? Food No. 2. Vegetable oils, the silent inflammation accelerator in your kitchen. The cooking oil sitting in your kitchen right now could be flooding your body with compounds that make joint pain dramatically worse. Are you unknowingly consuming this joint-destroying ingredient multiple times every day? Researchers at the University of Michigan have discovered that common vegetable oils like corn, soybean, and canola contain disproportionately high levels of omega-6 fatty acids that convert directly to inflammatory compounds in aging bodies. For seniors, these oils don't just contribute to inflammation, they actively accelerate it. Dr. Sarah Peterson, specialist in geriatric nutrition, explains, most seniors grew up being told these vegetable oils were heart-healthy alternatives to butter and lard. What we know now is that for adults over 60, these processed oils actually create a perfect storm of inflammation. They contain damaged fatty acids that directly target joint tissue and cartilage, making them particularly dangerous for anyone with existing joint pain. Consider the experience of Thomas Miller, a 77-year-old grandfather from Ohio. Thomas had been cooking with corn oil for decades, believing it was the healthier choice. His arthritis had gotten so severe he couldn't hold his fishing rod anymore, the activity he loved most. My daughter is a nutritionist, Thomas recounted. She came to visit and immediately threw out my cooking oils. She replaced everything with olive oil and avocado oil, and insisted I try cooking exclusively with these for just 1 month. The change was nothing short of miraculous. 6 weeks later, I was back on the lake fishing again. Here's your immediate action plan: today, not tomorrow. Remove all corn, soybean, canola, vegetable, safflower, and sunflower oils from your home. Replace them with extra virgin olive oil for salads and low-heat cooking, and avocado oil for higher-heat cooking methods. This simple switch can reduce inflammatory markers in your bloodstream by up to 30% in just 3 weeks. Imagine how much better your mornings could feel when you're not waking up with stiff, aching joints. Is keeping that bottle of vegetable oil worth the pain it's causing you every day? Food No. 3. Processed wheat products. Why healthy whole wheat might be your joint's worst enemy. The bread and pasta you've been told are healthy staples could actually be major culprits behind your worsening joint pain. Here's the shocking truth most doctors won't tell you about wheat after age 65. Clinical studies published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry reveal that the modern wheat consumed today bears little resemblance to what our bodies evolved to digest. For seniors specifically, wheat proteins trigger an inflammatory response that concentrates in joint tissue, leading to increased pain, stiffness, and accelerated cartilage breakdown. Dr. William Thompson, gastroenterologist specializing in inflammatory responses in older adults, explains, many seniors experience what we call subclinical gluten sensitivity that doesn't manifest as celiac disease but creates significant inflammation throughout the body, particularly in the joints. The problem intensifies after age 60 when the digestive system becomes less efficient at processing these proteins. Take the case of Patricia Adams, a 70-year-old retired nurse who suffered from hand arthritis so severe she could barely button her own shirts. I considered myself a healthy eater, whole grain bread every day, pasta a few times a week. When my doctor suggested eliminating wheat completely for 30 days, I was skeptical but desperate, Patricia recalled. The results were undeniable. Within 2 weeks, the constant throbbing in my fingers had subsided considerably. By the 1-month mark, I could garden again without wearing my braces. I never would have believed food could make such a difference. Here's what you need to do: eliminate all wheat products, including whole wheat options, for a minimum of 21 days to allow your body to reset its inflammatory response. This includes obvious sources like bread, pasta, and cereal, but also hidden wheat in sauces, soups, and processed foods. Replace these inflammatory triggers with truly joint-friendly alternatives like brown rice, quinoa, sweet potatoes, and gluten-free oats. When reintroducing wheat after your elimination period, pay close attention to how your joints feel in the 24 hours afterward. For many seniors, this single change reduces joint pain by 40 to 60% within a month. Is your morning toast worth the pain it might be causing your hands, knees, and hips for the rest of the day? Food No. 4. Dairy products. The calcium paradox that's hurting your joints. You've been told your whole life that dairy is essential for strong bones. But could milk products actually be making your joint pain worse? The surprising answer is yes, especially after age 65. Research from the Arthritis Foundation shows that for many seniors, dairy proteins trigger a specific inflammatory response that targets joint tissue. Even more concerning, studies from Harvard Medical School reveal that dairy consumption after age 65 may actually increase bone fracture risk rather than reducing it, the exact opposite of what most people believe. Dr. Elizabeth Morgan, specialist in geriatric nutrition, explains, as we age, our ability to process casein, the main protein in dairy, changes significantly. For many seniors, this protein triggers an immune response that creates inflammation throughout the body, but particularly in the joints. What's meant to strengthen bones may actually be contributing to joint destruction. Consider Martha Johnson, a 76-year-old with knee arthritis who drank milk faithfully every day believing it would help her condition. I was consuming yogurt, cheese, and milk daily, thinking I was protecting my bones. My joints kept getting worse despite everything else I was trying, Martha shared. After eliminating dairy for just 3 weeks, Martha experienced what she calls a transformation. The constant ache in my knees diminished dramatically. I could go up and down stairs without holding the railing for the first time in years. I wish someone had told me about this connection sooner. Here's your action plan: eliminate all dairy products for 21 days, including milk, cheese, yogurt, and even whey protein supplements. Pay particular attention to hidden dairy ingredients in processed foods, salad dressings, and baked goods. Replace these inflammatory triggers with calcium-rich alternatives like almond milk fortified with calcium, dark leafy greens, chia seeds, and calcium-set tofu. After 3 weeks, you can try reintroducing small amounts of goat or sheep dairy products, which contain different proteins that many seniors tolerate better. This single change could reduce your joint pain by 30 to 50% within a month. Is that glass of milk or slice of cheese worth hours of increased pain afterward? Food No. 5. Nightshade vegetables, the healthy foods that could be poisoning your joints. Some of the vegetables you've been eating to stay healthy might actually be major contributors to your joint pain. This surprising truth about nightshade vegetables is something most doctors never mention. Research from the Cleveland Clinic has found that nightshade vegetables, including tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, and bell peppers, contain compounds called alkaloids that can significantly increase joint pain and inflammation in susceptible individuals, particularly those over 65. Dr. James Wilson, rheumatologist specializing in nutritional approaches to arthritis, explains, nightshades contain alkaloids that inhibit cholinesterase, an enzyme that helps regulate the nervous system. For many seniors, this disruption leads to increased inflammation specifically in the joints. It's one of the most overlooked dietary contributors to arthritis pain. Take the case of Helen Crawford, a 72-year-old with rheumatoid arthritis who experienced puzzling pain flare-ups despite taking her medications faithfully. I ate tomatoes from my garden every day in summer, had potatoes several times a week, and put bell peppers in nearly everything, Helen recalled. My rheumatologist never once mentioned these foods could be a problem. After eliminating nightshades for just 21 days, Helen's results were remarkable. The constant burning sensation in my hands decreased by at least 70%. I could actually make a fist again without wincing. Now if I eat these foods, I can feel the pain returning within hours. Here's what you must do: eliminate all nightshade vegetables, tomatoes, white potatoes, eggplant, bell peppers, cayenne, paprika, and goji berries, for at least 21 days. Be vigilant about hidden sources like tomato-based pasta sauces, potato starch in processed foods, and paprika in spice blends. Replace these inflammatory triggers with joint-friendly alternatives like sweet potatoes, cauliflower, cucumbers, leafy greens, and squash. After 3 weeks, you can try reintroducing nightshades one at a time, spacing them 72 hours apart, while monitoring your pain levels carefully. For approximately 65% of seniors with chronic joint pain, eliminating nightshades reduces pain by at least 30%. Could these supposedly healthy vegetables be the hidden source of pain you've been searching for? Food No. 6. Processed meats, the hidden inflammation trigger at your deli counter. The sandwich meats and breakfast proteins you've enjoyed for decades could be major contributors to the joint pain that's limiting your life. Here's the concerning science most people over 65 never hear about. Studies published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition show that processed meats contain advanced glycation end products, AGEs, and nitrates that dramatically accelerate inflammation in aging bodies. For seniors specifically, these compounds target collagen, the main protein in joint cartilage, leading to increased stiffness, pain, and accelerated joint deterioration. Dr. Richard Harris, specialist in inflammatory diseases, explains, processed meats like bacon, sausage, ham, and deli meats create a perfect storm of inflammation in older adults. The preservation methods and additives used activate inflammatory pathways that specifically target joints. What makes a quick sandwich could be causing hours of increased pain. Consider William Thompson, an active 75-year-old who enjoyed ham sandwiches daily and bacon with breakfast most mornings. My hands had gotten so stiff I couldn't play piano anymore, something I'd loved my entire life. William shared, my doctor never once asked about my diet. After eliminating processed meats for just 30 days, William experienced what he calls a revelation. The constant ache in my fingers diminished drastically. I can play simple pieces again, and the morning stiffness that used to last hours now resolves in minutes. Here's your immediate action plan. Eliminate all processed meats including bacon, sausage, deli meats, ham, hot dogs, and prepackaged meat products. Check ingredient lists carefully for nitrates, nitrites, and sodium phosphate, all indicators of inflammatory processing methods. Replace these inflammatory triggers with fresh, unprocessed protein sources like wild-caught fish, pasture-raised eggs, beans, lentils, and occasionally fresh, unprocessed cuts of meat. When you do choose meat, opt for grass-fed varieties which contain anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids rather than inflammatory omega-6 found in conventionally raised meat. This single dietary change could reduce your inflammatory markers by up to 35% within just 3 weeks. Is that daily sandwich or breakfast bacon worth the pain it's causing in your hands, knees, and hips? Food No. 7. Artificial sweeteners, the diet products making your pain worse. The sugar substitutes you're using to protect your health might actually be intensifying your joint pain. This shocking connection is something few seniors are ever told about. Research from Purdue University reveals that artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin trigger neurological pathways that amplify pain perception and increase inflammatory markers in the bloodstream. For seniors already dealing with joint issues, these compounds can make pain feel significantly worse. Dr. Jennifer Martinez, neurologist specializing in pain management, explains, artificial sweeteners interact with specialized receptors that amplify both inflammation and pain perception. For seniors with existing joint problems, Consuming these compounds can make moderate pain feel severe and mild pain feel moderate, essentially turning up the volume on pain signals. Take Gloria Henderson, a 69-year-old with osteoarthritis who drank diet sodas daily and used artificial sweeteners in her coffee, all while believing she was making healthier choices. I was doing everything else right, taking my supplements, doing gentle exercise, even trying meditation for the pain. Nothing seemed to help enough. When Gloria eliminated artificial sweeteners completely, the results surprised even her doctor. Within just 10 days, the burning sensation in my knees had decreased dramatically. After a month, I could walk through the grocery store without needing to use the motorized cart. I had no idea my diet choices were making everything worse. Here's what you must do today: remove all artificial sweeteners from your diet, including obvious sources like diet sodas, sugar-free candies, and sweetener packets. But also check labels for hidden sources in protein shakes, flavored waters, chewing gum, and even some medications and supplements. Replace these inflammatory triggers with small amounts of natural sweeteners like raw honey, maple syrup, or monk fruit extract, which may actually contain anti-inflammatory compounds. Better yet, gradually reduce all sweeteners to retrain your taste buds to appreciate natural flavors. This simple change could reduce your pain levels by 20 to 30% within just 2 weeks. Is that diet soda worth hours of increased joint pain? The 14-day joint relief plan that could change everything. Now you know the 7 foods silently contributing to your joint pain and inflammation. But knowing isn't enough. You need a simple, practical plan to eliminate these foods and replace them with joint healing alternatives. Here's your step-by-step 14-day joint relief plan that has helped thousands of seniors find freedom from pain. Days 1 to 3, focus on eliminating just processed foods and sugar. This gives your body an initial reset and makes the transition easier. Replace these with whole foods like fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. Days 4 to 7, now eliminate the remaining inflammatory foods, vegetable oils, wheat, dairy, nightshades, processed meats, and artificial sweeteners. This is your full elimination phase. Stock your kitchen with approved alternatives and prepare simple meals focused on anti-inflammatory ingredients. Days 8 to 14, continue your complete elimination while adding specific joint healing foods daily. 1 serving of fatty fish like salmon or sardines, rich in omega-3. 2 cups of dark leafy greens, high in antioxidants. 1 tablespoon of turmeric with black pepper, powerful anti-inflammatory. 3 cups of filtered water with fresh lemon, supports detoxification. 1/4 cup of walnuts or flax seeds, provides essential fatty acids. By day 14, most seniors report a 40 to 70% reduction in joint pain and stiffness. Imagine waking up without that morning ache, climbing stairs with ease again, or being able to play with your grandchildren without paying for it later. Remember Margaret from the beginning of this video? This exact protocol is what helped her reclaim her mobility and quality of life. I went from barely able to function to feeling better than I had in 15 years, Margaret shared. If someone had told me food could make this much difference, I wouldn't have believed them. Now I want every senior to know there's hope. Your next steps to pain-free living. You now understand the 7 inflammatory foods that could be destroying your joints and exactly how to eliminate them from your diet. But knowledge without action won't reduce your pain one bit. Will you take the first step toward relief today? Will you commit to the 14-day plan that could dramatically change how you feel and move? Imagine being able to garden again without pain, to play with your grandchildren, to travel, to dance, to reclaim the active life that joint pain has stolen from you, all by making simple changes to what's on your plate. If this information opened your eyes to mistakes you might be making with your diet, hit the like button right now. Which of these 7 inflammatory foods surprised you the most? Comment below with the number so I'll know you're watching. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upcoming video on the 5 anti-inflammatory superfoods that can reverse joint damage after 60. Share this video with every senior you care about, your spouse, your friends, your siblings. It might just be the information that helps them break free from years of unnecessary pain. Remember, you don't have to accept joint pain as an inevitable part of aging. With the right information and simple changes, you can take back control of how you feel and live the active, pain-free life you deserve.